I know it is such a cliche, but based on how long I've been filming this for, I think you should bring your video with you to the kitchen briefly. Make yourself a cup of tea, get a water. I've got a massive glass of water because I need to stay hydrated while talking at you. And make yourself a snack. I don't know, settle in. I think this is going to be a long one. Hi everyone, Rosie here. Welcome back to my channel. I don't know if this video is going to be interesting to anyone except for me, but I'm trying to really embrace the whole make the content that you want to make, find joy in that sort of vibe right now, so I'm going to talk about it. I have recently been experimenting with a few different weekly video styles. In February, I, for various reasons, wanted to make my video making process as simple, easy, low effort as possible because I just didn't have a lot of time or energy to give to Booktube in February. To do that, I started making weekly reads videos. I filmed them really quickly on a Friday night. I edited them usually Friday, I think, and then captioned them on Saturday or Sunday morning before they went up. They were super fast. I didn't need to put a lot of thought or effort into them, and that was interesting. I hadn't made that sort of video before. It was a new format for me. It was a new way of interacting with you guys. So that was kind of cool. But I've also always really enjoyed channels that do weekly vlogs. So I thought, just to be fair, for, experiment's sake, in March, I will do a weekly vlog every week, and that's what I did. I wanted to think about what worked from these and what didn't, what was something I want to carry forward in my Booktube videos and what I want to leave behind. Having done these 2 months of sort of constricted video making, just making one type a lot, it's given me a lot of chance to reflect on what works for me. I thought it might be interesting to share that. I love hearing this stuff from you guys. I love when other booktubers make videos about their process or how they think about their videos. If I like to watch it, I want to make it. I'll start by talking about the pros and cons to both formats. When I was thinking about this, I was realizing there's a lot of elements that these two video types share. There's a lot of things that are really good about both of them and that are not my favorite about both of them. Starting positive, both of these formats where I film and then release really quickly after I film let me share my thoughts and reflections in a more real-time way. I don't know how much you guys ever notice this, but a lot of my videos are filmed 2 weeks in advance. And that doesn't sound like a long time. It's not huge. It is a bit of a disconnect between when I have a thought, when I film that thought, and then when I share that thought with you guys. That could be 3-4 weeks. And that's assuming the thought hadn't been on my list of videos I want to make. And it was kind of nice to just every week just share whatever I was thinking. That was really lovely. My second major win for both weekly vlogs and weekly reads videos is that it was a level of talking about books that I really enjoyed. I feel like a lot of the books I read, I have more thoughts than fit nicely into a monthly wrap-up, but not enough thoughts to want to film an entire video about that book. I loved having a space where over the span of the month, I can talk about a book for 5, 10, 20 minutes, however much I feel like, without trying to fit it into those categories. I also found that both formats really lent themselves to going in whatever creative direction I was feeling. Whatever I was thinking about, however I wanted to share my thoughts with you, vlogs and weekly reads videos can pivot with that. If I want to go on a tangent about how I am relating to this book and how I'm feeling about it or how it ties into something else I'm thinking about, it feels appropriate in these formats. Likewise, if I just want to review the book, it also feels appropriate. I don't have to have any sort of preconceived notion about where my thoughts are going to go. I just go with them. That being said, there are some things that I didn't like about both formats. First of all, and one of my really big ones, is that I really like making monthly wrap-ups, and they felt a bit redundant after having done weekly videos because I'd already talked about a lot of the books in a fair bit of depth. So it's tempting to just say, oh, go watch this video if you haven't seen me talk about it. But at the same time, I know a lot of people prefer a monthly wrap-up where they can hear the 1 to 4 minute review of the book. They don't want to have to watch an entire vlog to get the 3 minutes of information that they're after. And I respect that. I get that. We all have different ways of interacting with Booktube and different preferences. So I like making wrap-ups. I like sharing my thoughts in that format. But for me, filming, it starts to feel a bit excessive. And I imagine for some of you who do watch more of my videos, it also starts to feel like, okay, is she actually providing any new value here? You guys are probably much nicer about it, but like that's the little critical voice in my head. On a production front, I found both formats required a level of turnaround that could feel demanding and pressury. Because the videos go up so soon after they're shot, I don't have much wiggle room. It sort of becomes, okay, it needs to get edited Monday night so that it can be uploaded. I can caption it on Tuesday because it's going up at lunchtime on Thursday or whatever. I guess I probably had more wiggle room than I thought I did, but it felt very like, wow, short deadline. And I think one of the reasons I do like pre-filming so much is that even if I have a Booktube task planned for every day of the week, a week in advance, I have so much time that it can be flexible. I was supposed to film this video yesterday. I'm supposed to be editing it right now. I don't think it will get edited today, and that's okay because I can edit it tomorrow and still have time to get it all ready before it comes out. And I like that. I don't want Booktube to be a source of pressure or deadlines for me. My last issue with these formats is really something that depends more on me as a reader than either of the formats, but I started to feel really repetitive. My reading style is that I often read one book over the span of weeks, because I'm reading like 5 books at a time. So I might start one, read it on and off, pick up something else. When I'm ready, I'll come back to it. And that meant that I felt like every week of the month, I was talking about the same books. Do I introduce this again and feel like I am being so repetitive? Or do I not introduce it and risk someone not enjoying my video because this is the first one of mine that they've seen, and all of a sudden I'm referring to all this stuff and they don't know what it is and it sounds kind of cool, but like, what even am I talking about? Is this issue entirely due to my reading style and own particular neuroses? Yes. But did it affect how I enjoyed making these videos? Also yes, so it's on my list. Okay, I'm going to get into the weekly reads videos. I'm going to start positive again as well because, I don't know, it's nice to start on the good stuff because then I get to rant afterwards. First, the huge thing about the weekly reads that I loved was that they were so quick and easy to make. I really loved making the much more casual style videos and not putting nearly so much pressure on myself to do everything absolutely right. And it's worked so well that I'm using it in this video. I honestly could not be bothered to set up my camera and lights and all of that stuff. But you know what? The light of my laptop screen and the monitor behind me, it's doing fine. My phone, totally great for filming on. I don't need to put extra pressure on myself. If I'm feeling like it, I can do that. I had so much fun with that the other weekend. But if I don't feel like it, it's fine. My next big win for the weekly reads is one that I feel like we don't acknowledge enough sometimes. Maybe it's just me. And that's that you guys really liked them. It was really fun to make videos that you guys seem to really, really enjoy. Now, my data is a bit biased because I did get a big subscriber bump thanks to a book olive partway through February, so maybe that's partly why they did so well. Loads of new viewers and stuff. But I get it. They're short, they're quick, they're to the point, they're an easy to watch video. It is nice to make videos that I feel like people are really enjoying. My final point in favor of the Weekly Reads videos is that they are the perfect format for all of my thoughts that are more than a tweet but less than their own video. All of those things where I'm thinking, I've got this little like blurb, and this is more than I want to put on Twitter, but like I don't want to make a 2-minute video just about this. Weekly Reads is the place for it. I found it fantastic for that, and I think it meant that we had some really interesting discussions in the comments that month. I felt like I got really, really great, like actual conversation comments on those videos, which I love. Of course, though, there are some cons here. I didn't feel like they were fulfilling creatively for me. By the end of the month, I didn't feel like I was learning anything from making them, and I didn't feel like I was excited about the end product. They were fine. They were solid, they were whatever, but I didn't get any like excitement out of it. And for me, the excitement from making and doing is as important as what I'm saying and what happens after I publish it. That's a critical component of why I love making booktube videos. So if I'm not feeling that from half the videos I'm making, that's not a good sign. This next con is sort of a contradiction to some of what I said earlier, but a lot of the time I didn't feel like I was sharing particularly interesting ideas. I wasn't really taking notes or planning these videos because that would have been extra like work and overhead that I was trying to avoid. I just sort of sat down in front of the camera and went, what did I want to talk about? And I think sometimes that meant that my content wasn't as good as it could have been. It wasn't as interesting. I didn't have as much to say because I hadn't taken the time to actually put my thoughts together. I'm not someone who can just sit down and have interesting ideas. I need to have an idea, then share it. This last negative for the weekly reads videos sort of comes back to something I said in my general cons, but I felt it especially intensely for these. And I think that's maybe me putting my expectations on the style of video, but I felt like most people who make this type of video film them on Friday, edit them maybe a bit, maybe not at all, put them up Friday night. Like it's hours from I sat down with the camera to when this goes live video, or maybe a day. And that's great. That works really well for them. They make great videos. I think I was putting that expectation on me that, okay, if I have this going up on Sunday, well, I always like to make sure I have time to caption my videos before they go live. So that means really I want it up at least 24 hours early, which means getting it all of a sudden essentially uploaded before I go to bed on Friday, which is just a turnaround time that I didn't enjoy. Now, maybe I should have just let go of my own preconceived notions and said, if I want to film on Wednesday and upload on Saturday or Sunday, that's fine. I just felt like this format didn't really fit with how I like to make videos. It's now time to shift our focus to the weekly vlogs, though. This is something that I feel like I had a lot more experience with before doing this challenge. I'd never done a month of weekly vlogs, but I had done a number of them, usually for a specific readathon or because I was on vacation and reading a lot, stuff like that. So it was kind of different to do a whole month of vlogs while I was just working normally, doing my normal life stuff, but it was kind of interesting. Let's talk about the good stuff. The first thing that really stood out to me is that I feel like because I was filming as I had ideas, I was getting my most like intense version of the thought. This sort of contradicts what I said earlier about not planning and therefore not having organized thoughts. We will come back to that. But I think there is something to be said for when I have something to say, I'm just going to record it. I don't know. I kind of like that. Is this all very contradictory? Yes, I do not claim to be a rational agent here. My second major perk for the weekly vlogs is their huge flexibility in form and content. I think you can take them pretty much anywhere. Any sort of thing you want to try, anything you want to do, any type of theme you want to embrace or style of filming, I feel like vlogs can take you there. There is so much scope to do different things. Even just within the span of a month, I tried like multiple different ways of doing my vlogs and found interesting things about all of them. The format just appeals to how my creative brain works. And finally, this one is probably a matter of taste. I don't actually particularly want to hear your opinions unless they're positive because this relates to me and my personality. If you don't like it, you don't need to watch my videos. I felt like my weekly vlogs shared a much more off-the-cuff and relaxed version of my personality. When I was editing them, I felt more like it was me and my personality coming through. I like my personality. I want that to shine. I don't want to feel like I'm hiding that. And I think for me that's easier in the sort of casual format, and it's a bit harder to get to that point when I'm doing a more sit-down video. Even just like relaxing back, slouching in my chair at my desk as opposed to sitting up straight in front of the bookshelves, I feel like I'm being more myself. But not all was dreamland perfect with the weekly vlogs. To begin with, oh my goodness, I felt like I was continuously filming and editing. Just constantly. It felt like I was always thinking about filming and thinking about editing vlogs. I don't know how people do this week in, week out. Maybe you get better at just filming what you need. Maybe you get better at editing out big chunks quickly. This was a major commitment for me. My second con is sort of like related to this, which is that it was so hard to keep track of everything I needed to do. When I sit down to film a video, I take a thumbnail, I film an intro. If I can't think of any sort of intro, I wait till the end, but film what I have to say, that's it. All of it's together, the files are all there together easily. I do all of the things at the same time because there's only one session. With a vlog, I might not want to film my intro when I start the vlog. Maybe I'll have a hilarious idea later in the week that I go, this is the perfect intro. Likewise, I don't necessarily want to wait until I'm feeling like, oh, this is a perfect thumbnail moment to start the vlog. There's no reason the thumbnail has to be from the beginning. So sometimes I take the thumbnail halfway through the vlog when I'm like, ooh, my hair looks really good today and I'm wearing a cute outfit and the light's good. I'll take a selfie right now and that'll be my thumbnail. But the issue is that when you're not doing all of these things in the exact same order every time and all at once, it becomes really, really easy to lose track. And you end up with no intro some weeks and 3 intros next week. Likewise, you had 3 thumbnails here and oops, you didn't take a thumbnail. So now you're scrubbing through video trying to find a screen grab from a clip that looks good enough to be a thumbnail. It was a lot more complicated to keep track of everything and to do everything that I like to do when making a video. I think this is something I could get better at if I did them more. I have some ideas for ways I can use different things in my bullet journal and maybe have a standard weekly vlog insert or something so that I've always got the checkboxes and I can see oh shoot, last day of vlog, no thumbnail, make sure I take that. I don't know. I don't want to be thinking about keeping track of my files for my hobby. That's not a Sparks Joy part of the hobby for me. My final con for the weekly vlogs is maybe a bigger question than I can begin to address in this video, but that's that I very quickly reached the point where I felt like I didn't want to share things. The first video, I was excited to be like, oh, I'm gonna do some baking and I'll film all the B-roll and I'm gonna film cool B-roll of what I'm doing and I want to share about what's going on. And this is all exciting. And within a week or two, I just felt like I don't want to. I want to do something and not tell the internet. As you can probably guess, I live a very, very low sharing my life other than YouTube. That might be surprising based on how much I vlog and show you of my house and my life and stuff. But no, other than this, I really don't share very much. Weekly vlogging really made me realize that I don't want to. I want to choose what I am showing. I want to pick what I present, not feel like everything is on display. Ultimately, neither of these are going to be videos that I want to make on a weekly basis long term. I will almost certainly make more weekly reading vlogs. In fact, expect some in the coming months. I don't have any set ideas yet, but I have so many possible ideas swirling around that I'm sure you'll see something soon. I made them before this experiment. I want to keep making them. I just want to film 1 week or 1 weekend every month or 2, not every single week. I probably won't do sort of a random weekly reads video here and there. I don't feel like it makes sense in my type of content and the type of videos I like to make to just throw random weekly reads in. But I do absolutely foresee using them when things are busy and I want to take a bit of pressure off. I like consistency. I like making videos every Thursday and Sunday. If I keep making videos, even when I feel busy, I keep making videos. I'm the sort of person who, if I pause because I'm having a busy week at work and I go, oh, I just can't be bothered to make a video this week, then it's going to be way harder for me to get back to it next week and make a video when I do have time. When things are busy at work, we have some plans to do some landscaping this spring once it warms up a bit more. When I'm doing stuff like that, I absolutely foresee returning to the weekly reads format for a month. I'm busy. I'm not going to put a lot of effort into this right now. I'm just going to, put that on the back burner slightly, but not abandon it completely. I would love to hear your opinions on both of these formats down below. I would love to hear if you have a preferred format. What do you guys think? What do you guys like making? Do you like making the same things you like watching? I'm super fascinated, as I said at the beginning of this video, and as proven by the fact that I have just spoken to you for 30 minutes straight somehow. I just love this topic, so please, let's chat about it. And if you would like to make a video or talk about your own experiences with these, yes, let's make Meta Booktube more of a thing. And as always, if you like this video, please give it a like down below. If you would like to see more of my videos, please hit subscribe, and thank you for watching.